Welcome everyone to episode 6 of After the Bell with Jeff Meacham. Thank you all for watching. Sorry I've been away for a while, but you know what? I am back. I'm ready to answer your questions from Twitter and Facebook. Can't get the form spring to work. I don't know what's going on with the form spring, but I will try to fix that. In the meantime, Twitter and Facebook me. Twitter at @JeffMeachamATV, Facebook.com/JDMeach1. Alright, let's get to your questions. From Twitter we have Aztec_AKY. Thoughts on Miz and R-Truth being fired, and do you think McMahon will come back and have some role in all this? Well, that is the rumor. That's the big conspiracy theory that's going to play out allegedly. Is that Vince McMahon is the one behind the big conspiracy. That's who Johnny Ace is texting. That's who, that's what they're saying. Whether I agree with that, I don't agree that that should happen. I think that we honestly should just let it play out without Vince. Vince is supposed to be gone. Vince is supposed to be no longer in charge, and the fact that he's going to be back involved is ridiculous. By the way, the show's brought to you by Sprite today. Ridiculous how it's hot in here. I honestly don't think that Vince should be involved in this. I think Triple H should be the one involved. Stephanie maybe, but not Vince. This one is from a very interesting Twitter name, CatDogFishHorse4. Would you consider Ring of Honor mainstream? Not yet. They're not in enough markets to be considered mainstream, in my opinion. I don't think that they are there yet. They will be soon, but they're not even in California. I looked. I was mad. No California Ring of Honor broadcasts. Gotta be in the LA area if you're going to be considered mainstream in today's wrestling society. Not Wrestling Society X. Wrestling Society. Gotta be in the LA market. Gotta be in more markets than they are. They're in like one area of Nevada. They're like in a couple areas in New York, which is their hotbed back there in the back east. But still, no, they're not mainstream yet. But they will be given time. I think if they get into more markets on the Sinclair Broadcasting Network, then they will be considered mainstream. And hopefully this deal will continue to thrive, and they will prosper and do very well with their new TV deal. Alright, on to Facebook. This is from Keon Lamont James. My question to you is, what would you say are the 5 most influential wrestlers and rivalries that changed the wrestling industry, and why? I'm going to go with rivalries, with wrestlers thrown in here. But rivalries, the top of the list, I think, has got to be Hogan and Piper. That rivalry transcended wrestling. It went into the we talk about mainstream on the Ring of Honor question. Mainstream media picked up on this. MTV was all over this feud. They had a match on MTV, the War to Settle the Score, back in '84, early '85, whatever it was. Those guys took their rivalry to a new level of mainstream popularity that had never been seen before. Rivalries that transcend, that influence wrestling. You got to talk about Austin McMahon. That rivalry brought wrestling back into the forefront. It brought wrestling back into the forefront so much that they got a network TV deal for UPN, and they were on SmackDown was on UPN and the CW for almost 10 years. Can't argue with the success there. That was pretty tremendous, and that happened because of Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Rock, Triple H, Vince McMahon, all those guys thrown in that little mix together. Austin Triple H, Austin Rock, Stone Cold, and fill in the blank here. Great rivalry. One that doesn't get talked about very often in terms of influencing the business, but I think it did, Ricky Steamboat and Ric Flair. Not so much for the storyline itself, but for the matches. That series of matches in 1989 that happened on pay-per-view and in the Clash of the Champions were tremendous. Awesome matches, great rivalry, classic good versus evil, although Flair ended up being a good guy at the end of it and ended up feuding with Terry Funk. Those two, Flair and Steamboat, really tore the house down each and every time they wrestled, not just on TV, but at house shows, at live events, all those places. Those two really made wrestling fans go, wow, those guys can really work. I want to talk about another rivalry that is a technical classic, Kurt Angle and Chris Benoit. A lot of people don't talk about that one either. They had a great rivalry in '01 that carried over into '03 when Kurt Angle was WWE Champion. Those two guys set a new standard for technical wrestling feuds that had not been seen since Ricky Steamboat, Ric Flair, in my opinion. Those two guys, thank you for the golf clap. Those two guys, again, technical marvels. Another one that, again, doesn't get a whole lot of credit, but because of who's involved, but the rivalry really picked up on the business. John Cena and Edge. Yes, John Cena is Super Cena and doesn't get a lot of credit because he is Super Cena. But that feud in 06 that carried over into 07 was just off the chain. Those two guys legit, if you want to call legit as far as professional wrestling, in terms of their characters, hated each other. They wanted nothing more than the complete utter destruction of one another. You know, there's a lot of ones you can talk about. Undertaker, Randy Orton. You can talk about DX versus Vince and Shane McMahon. But those five, in my opinion, I think are the ones that really influenced the business. You can go back further into the history and talk about, you know, the Funks and the Briscoes and talk about those stuff. But those five to me stand out. But I'm a younger guy, so. Jacob Isley, whatever you want to say. Sorry about that, Jacob. Do you think Samoa Joe will jump to WWE, and what do you think WWE should do with him? That is one of the big talks around town, if you will. That's the big story, that Samoa Joe will jump to WWE once his contract with TNA is up. If he does, I'm not sure if they'll use him properly because it's WWE. They can't seem to get it right with the guys that jump from TNA. TNA get it right with the guys that jump from WWE to TNA. They book those guys just fine, but never in reverse order. Those guys that come from TNA to WWE don't seem to really prosper and flourish, with the exception of one guy. And the only reason he flourished is because he was also a big star in Ring of Honor prior to TNA, CM Punk. CM Punk was a big star in Ring of Honor. He was an awesome player in TNA along with Raven and The Gathering, but he really got a chance to shine in WWE. But other than him, I really can't think. I mean, Frankie Kazarian is a great example of guys that jumped from TNA to WWE and went in the pooper. Colt Cabana jumped from the Indies to WWE, went in the pooper. And what's that?
Braden Walker.
Yeah, Braden Walker. Thank you. Chris Harris. Oh my God. Chris Harris, you know, gained about 155,000 pounds, went to WWE and tanked. So, you know, but Samoa Joe may be an exception because Samoa Joe is a legit badass. He'll go in there and he'll kill people. Joe's going to kill you, right? And he could be a legit threat to any championship, especially the two world championships. But will they push him as such? Time will tell. This is from Tyler Trigg. Do you think Christian's heel turn has helped or hindered his career? Yes, he did win the World Heavyweight Championship twice, but he didn't hold it long either time when they gave the belt back to Orton. Your thoughts? Hindered. Yes, Christian has gotten more TV time as a heel. Yes, Christian has been more of a legit threat to the World Heavyweight Championship, to any championship since his heel turn. But in the grand scheme of things, him being a heel has made him lose credibility in the eyes of the fans, and lose in the eyes of the peeps, if you will. The peeps, with the exception of me and JJ and a few others, have really turned their back on Christian and sided with Super Orton, which I don't like at all, and I'll probably get to that in a little bit about the Super Orton, the Super Viper, if you will. Christian had a good thing going as the guy to almost like succeed Edge as the top guy on SmackDown for a while, and they blew it right away by having him lose to Orton 2 nights after he won the title. Blew it completely. Horrible idea. Horrible idea to do that. Not a good idea at all. And Christian's credibility has been going down the tubes since. Been horrible. This is from Ed Easton Jr. Do you think Beer Money would be a decent fit in WWE's tag team division, considering that they might be looking to beef up that division? Yes and no. Storm and Rude would be a great tag team in any company. Ring of Honor, WWE, TNA, the Indies, wherever. They'd be a great tag team no matter where they go. I like to see them in WWE Hollywood, personally. I like to see those guys show up and win the World Tag Team titles, not the frickin' Heritage Tag titles. Beat the current World Tag Team champions in WWE. I forget what the names off the top of my head. I'm going to get in trouble for that, I'm sure. But I say no only because again, the whole TNA WWE thing. WWE would probably split them up and ruin it. We'll see what happens come down for Glory with Robert Roode. Because Robert Roode should, I will drink to that, should be the World Heavyweight Champion. Come down for Glory. He should beat Kurt Angle, should be the new champion. If he doesn't, this whole Bound for Glory series and everything has been for naught. So I don't think we'll have to wait and see too much longer what they're going to do with Robert Roode as far as a single star. But as far as surviving in WWE, yes. Thriving in WWE, probably not for Robert and James. Brian Del Hero, who do you believe is the best indie wrestler on the mic today? Personally, I say it's either Sami Callihan or Jimmy Jacobs. Thanks, love the show. Got to keep in mind, my indie knowledge is very much based on SoCal. I don't see a lot of Ring of Honor, mainly because I don't get Ring of Honor out here. I haven't got Ring of Honor out here since I have stopped following on YouTube. When you talk about indie guys in SoCal that are going on the mic, you got to talk about Joey Ryan. You got to talk about, Joey Chaos. You got to talk about, Adam Pearce, the World Heavyweight Champion of the NWA, right here. Any of these guys up here, really. Cole Cabana, Percy Pringle. Oh my God, Percy's awesome. You talk about, who's back here? I said Chaos. Not so much T-Rex. I love you, T-Rex, but no, dude, I'm good. Sean Ricker. Brian Cage is getting better. He wasn't good for a while. Sean Ricker was the talker of the team, but Brian's getting better. God, there's so many. Kevin Steen, when he gets on the mic, oh my God, he's nuts. He can be a great heel. He can be a great face. El Generico, for all his Spanish-speaking talk, is freaking hysterical on the mic. Excalibur, when he was wrestling, and even as commissioner now of PWG, he's hysterical too. There's so many guys. But I'd say those guys stick out most of my mind as far as SoCal. What do you guys think? You guys watch any wrestling around the country and around the world? Who do you guys think are the top indie guys? Let me know. This is from Vanush J. Group. This is the question I was going to talk about. What are your thoughts on Randy Orton right now? Plenty of people are bashing him, saying he's turning into Super Orton, using 3 or 4 moves and coming back and not selling the moves and saying he's not a good wrestler, even though Bret Hart says he is, which I agree with Bret. Sorry if it's so long. Hope you get to my question on the next show. Not the next show, but I'm here now. Randy has very much become a Super Viper. He will lose the championship, he'll lose a match, he'll come back and be stronger and badder than ever. He's very much become that John Cena mold, man. It sucks, because Orton is a great wrestler. Orton is a great talent. Orton is good on the mic. He's very calculated, very cold, very awesome on the mic. Not the Miz, but still awesome. But Randy has become a superhero, and it sucks. I think they need to scale him back and reduce his role on TV. They can't, because he's one of their biggest superstars, but they should. Chris Giddens sent me a YouTube video about the Briscoe brothers. Want to know my thoughts on Jay and Mark. Jay and Mark are awesome. I've seen them a little bit here in PWG out here in SoCal, and those guys are great in the ring. I've seen some of the Ring of Honor stuff. They're tremendous. And I think they're going to go very far in this business if they haven't already gotten farther than Ring of Honor, which I'm sure they have. They probably wrestle in Japan and Mexico and things like that. I don't know. I don't follow them as much as I should, quite frankly, as a internet journalist, if you will. I should follow them. Last question today comes from Mario Andre. How do you think WWE will bring back Karma as a heel or a face? Because last time she kind of went out of character and kind of saw another side of her, a more human one. Kind of sweet. So probably it's going to be kind of awkward coming back as the mean beast that she was portraying. Plus she was kind of bullied by the Bellas. How would you do it? How do you think it should be done? Karma needs to come back and be a beast. She cannot be this sweet little thing. She needs to come back and whoop ass. And they start with the Bellas. Heel or face, she needs to come back and be a badass. Alright. That's it for this week. Don't forget, Stepboy Rants, Renegade of Wrestling. Dads will be back soon in the interview, hopefully. Double Down Double A, I'm sure I'll have another episode. And we will be back next time with more after the bell.